Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
It's good. It's good.
How does it feel to be out?
Feels good. If I'm honest, it felt a bit strange still, even yesterday. I've just been glued to my son, who's sitting there politely filming, probably very tired.
What I know is seeing your post this morning saying up at 6:30.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a very special guest.
I walked in my room at 4:30 this morning.
I saw the manic text going backwards and forwards. Tell me what it was like inside.
What was it like? Long. Days are long. A day can feel, in isolation, a day can feel like a week, essentially, because you're just sat there. I don't know how to explain it. And do you know, in prisons are usually loud, boisterous places. Mine was total silence, because they cleared everywhere. So it was strange, because you just sat in a room all day. And then they got me out, and walked me across to another unit. But then I spent the 2 hours, 2.5 hours there, just on my own again, walking around. It was just long. Days were long, and days were long. And I guess it was if I'd committed serious crime, I probably wouldn't have felt the resentment that I was feeling sitting there. I knew I shouldn't be there, and I found it totally unfair in the sense that jihadists, baby killers, Axel Rudy Cabana, Salman Abdi's brother, are not being held in these conditions. In fact, there's no one in the British prison system that they allow to be held in solitary confinement. But yet they fought to have me in solitary confinement. And when I looked it all up, because I was in there, that's meant to be the last resort. Yeah. Isolation. There's a 14-day rule. It's called the Mandela. Yeah. They just didn't care about any of it. The government, and it was the government stamping it every 42 days. It was the government, because the prison can't, because of the damage it does. And my worry and my concern the whole time was what it's going to do. Yeah. That's what I was worried about. Because when I was in last time, I said I think I went into prison one person and come out another. And that was from 3.5 months, 3 months in solitary confinement. This time, I did have physical exercise. I was in a better place physically for exercise. I was so scared and worried about going into prison beforehand. So
you were worried about attacks on you?
No, crazily. I've got the documentation. So in my first meeting with psychologists in the prison, I said I'd rather have a physical fight every day. Right. Than you mentally break me here. Because as I said, when I come out of prison last time, from 2018, for 4 years, I was damaged. For years, actually. I struggled a lot. So that damage is far different to the fear of having a physical altercation. So, and I said that to the prison. I said, I don't want you to hold me. I was worried because I'm doing 9 months, totally in a room on my own for 9 months without talking to people, seeing people. And then just walk me out the prison door in 9 months. Because I remember last time I thought it was all right when I walked out, and then it felt like I hit a brick wall. I just couldn't interact with my family. Yeah. So all those things were worrying me.
So lots of reports about the conditions there, and people get different ideas of solitary.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me that what you're in is a wing by yourself for your own protection. Was that right?
So that's what they did. So, which I didn't want to be in, which is the point I kept saying. I've not asked you to separate me. You've brought me, and they said, but you're going to be in danger, in serious danger. I said, of course I'm going to be in serious danger. You brought me to a maximum security prison that has a 40% Muslim population, 50% of them are murderers, many are terrorists, and you've brought me here for a civil offence. Why am I here? I said, it's insane. So for a civil offence, you'd go to a category D prison, which there were ones. We found one called Britannia House that only has 40 prisoners, none of them are Muslim. So I would have been totally safe there. You would go out and work every day outside of the prison. I would go home for 5 days in a month, from a Friday to a Tuesday. I would work every day outside the custody. You literally just go back and sleep in the prison. You have your own key to your room. That's the facilities I should have been in for the so-called crime. Let's not call it a crime, because it wasn't a crime. It's not a criminal offence. It's a civil offence.
Contempt of court, wasn't it?
Contempt of court. It's a civil offence.
And that was commuted because you basically took down the video. It
was commuted because, my team. Well, when I was sentenced, the judge gave me the option in court to take down the video, and I will reduce the sentence. But I didn't want to take down the video. I thought I should still have the right to do my jail time and come out, and the video still be there. But then they made a decision in court papers 4 weeks before I was out. There was Section 17, which is from the 3 most senior judges in the country, who made the decision that today I walk out of prison, I'm still committing life contempt. So the Attorney General, Labour's Keir Starmer's Attorney General, was going to re-prosecute me, which would be an automatic 2-year prison sentence again. And then they'd do it again. So basically I got told, if you do not delete the film, you're going to face an indefinite prison sentence. And this is from a country and a politician who sat in the Oval Office talking about free speech. But how can you sit and talk about free speech? Why is no one trying to counter what's in the film that I've released? I've released a film. There's lots of facts in it. There's lots of witness opinions. As a journalist, I give both sides of the story. I give people the information to make their own mind up. What's the problem?
And as they say, the police should be policing our streets, not the tweets.
But they are policing the tweets, and they're controlling what everyone's seeing, hearing, about who, their views. So
yeah, that all makes sense. Just coffee. Right?
Oh,
I know you get used to something, but get worried about a knock on the door. So basically,
I just look forward to a knock on the door.
No,
they're going to hand some crisps in.
I don't being spoiled. But talk about conditions there. I'm back on solitary. So you had a kettle, you had a television, you could get access to emails and things like that.
So basically, now in every prison, what they give you, which was new, is they give you a electrical device where emails come through to it. So when people email in, every email is monitored and read. So if you mention anything, for example, I put in one. I had a friend, and I said, we go back. I was talking to someone in email. I said, we go back years to the EDL days, and they blocked sending of it. So then I took the word EDL out, tried to send it again, and it sent. So, but yeah, everyone has an email. Everyone has a computer.
Right.
You can have a kettle. I don't think everyone should have a kettle because so many people.
You heard about what happened.
Yeah, but that's happening. I don't think people understand the level it's happening. In Wood Hill, on the one day where there was an officer who was stabbed in the head, did you see that in the news? There was 3 officers attacked just that day.
Right.
Now, I spend not much time. I get walked from A to B, and obviously I was always asking questions of the staff.
Yeah.
But when I was getting walked from A to B in one 7-day period, a female officer had a nose broke, a male officer lost his teeth, and another officer was attacked with boiling water. That's what I knew about just in my interactions being walked from here to there, listening to the radios.
Right.
So there are, I think, when you see servicemen, I think servicemen should have a round of applause and people should shake their hands and thank you for their service. I now have to take that opinion that that's what people need to be doing when they see prison officers.
And did they treat you well?
They were fabulous.
Right.
There was a problem from the top, but the individual officers.
What's the problem?
The problem was they messed with everything they could possibly mess with. So my phones, and I've got the paperwork, I'll share it.
Yeah.
So I used to get taken at 8:30 in the morning to a wing, which is where the jihadists, it's built for the jihadists, but there were no jihadists on that unit, so it was empty, which is where they took me every day until the Frankland attack, and then they brought the jihadists there. But when they took me there, so my phone would go on at 8 till 8:30 in the morning for half hour, and 11:45 till 12:15 for half hour. So I had my time slots that they'd turn my phone on because I was on live monitoring calling. And I kept saying, why am I on live monitoring calling? Then, so on the jihadist wing, it's got their phone time. So I've got the paper, I took it. I thought, okay, their phone goes on 6 in the morning till 11 p.m. They're not on live monitoring calls. So I've got it in black and white, Wood Hill Prison's paperwork for the jihadist wing. Their phones are on 6 to 11. My phone gets on for half hour here, half hour there. And when I'm waiting for those half hours, do you know, as a father, I've got 3 kids. And when you're isolated, it may seem mad, and my son probably thinks I used to ring him every day.
Right.
Yeah. But I'd wait for that phone call. I'd be panicking. You end up panicking about silly things. I'm panicking all the time. And if I know they're out at a party that night, then I'm waiting from 4 in the morning, just waiting till it gets to 8 o'clock to ring up and just say, are they okay? And panicking about stuff. But then they just won't turn the phone. And they've done it so many times.
Was that the hardest bit about being inside? Not having contact with your family, the big birthdays?
No contact, no control. You could wait all day. And I don't know, it may not sound like much, but when you're sat, say, I used to get out for the 3 hours, 2.5 hours, then I'd sit back in my cell for 21 hours on the blue mat, which is like the bed, until the next morning when I do the same. But when you're doing that, and then I'd wait all day for the phone call, because there was the evening phone time when they put it on at 6 then, I'd wait all day to make a call to my kids.
Right.
And they wouldn't turn the phone. And I'm ready to explode because I'm panicking and worrying and wanting to talk to my family. And then the more of the injustice, because I'm thinking, every single prisoner here in this whole jail, no one's on live monitoring calls. The terrorists are on live monitoring calls. Why have I got someone sitting and listening to every minute of my call? Why am I at maximum security visiting room? So in a visit hall, you usually have a big visit hall, and the prison officers are sat 20 metres away over there. Yeah, I had my kids on a visit. 2 officers have sat there.
Yeah.
6 cameras.
Exactly.
So
talk about visitors, because a number of people who've been on the Andrew Eborn Show, they talked about going to visit you. I know you've had Andrew Bridgen on, Lauren Spots, and so on and so forth. Did they have to sign an NDA?
They made them sign NDAs. Then they blocked everyone, literally. She blocked everyone, the head governor. They just refused visitors. And that's the same. So I'd wait for a visit, and they'd do it the day before. So you're waiting to see people, and then just your visit's cancelled. And then your phone call's cancelled. And it may not seem like a lot, but those little things, when you're isolated anyway, it's a strange thing to explain, I don't know. The effect of isolation and my panicking, because I can remember last time the problems I had when I come out. And it was only then, I think after 3-4 years of being out, that I found physical exercise in the gym, which I wish I found when I was 18. But my son's found it, and he's on beast mode already.
There you go.
I taught him that train. I'd say to anyone, any problems you have in life will be solved with physical exercise.
And that's what we say. You go for a walk in the countryside, work on that sort of
nature.
And how are you feeling in yourself now?
I feel all right. Well, I feel strange, but I would do. It's all natural. Last time I didn't expect it, so it's a natural effect and consequence. I obviously looked into, knew what the problems of isolation and the injustice of it was talking to the prison. We're meant to be in an era where mental health matters. Yeah. That's all we ever hear about. Outside, independent medical experts come and assess me in prison and said that the damage they're doing now and the mental damage is going to have a lasting, long-term effect by continually isolating him as a prisoner and holding him under these conditions. The prison didn't care. The government actually blocked any attempt to have me released at the same time as the criminals. As a civil prisoner, I served 3 times as long in prison as I would have done if I was a criminal. I was not allowed the 60% off that the Labour government brought in. So the Labour government brought in a policy that you get 60% off because the prisons are full. So they're opening the doors, letting violent criminals out. So when they first let them out that first time, one went into murder the next day. So they're opening doors, letting violent criminals out to replace them with people who said mean things on Facebook. Fill in the prisons with all these people. But when I go in as a civil offender for playing a film, I put in a maximum security facility, and they refused to give me the 60% off. So then we went to court on appeal for the verdict. And usually, if you're in court, that's the police next to you and the Crown Prosecution Service. With mine, it was the Attorney General and the Labour government. So it is political. There's no other there can't be an argument about it. It's political. They're there arguing to keep me in prison, but it's their policy. I said, you're the ones who brought in the 60%, but you don't want me to have the 60%. And when they say prisons are full, like when I got brought in, I had 16 cells where I was held on my own. So that's 16 cells I couldn't use. Then to let me have any sort of exercise, which I had to because I was a civil prisoner, to bring me to a unit where I could have exercise. There was 13 cells there, so that was kept empty.
Crazy.
I had 40 cells. The 3 for what? And they're all kept empty. Right. So it's like, we're letting everyone out, violent criminals. You don't have spaces, but you're using up 40 cells for me. And on a prison wing, there's 60 prisoners and there's 3 staff. Right. I had 2 staff the whole time. Crazy. So it's like, none of it made sense. Yeah. None of it made sense.
We're going to discuss a lot more about this, unpacking, because that's what I love about this. It gives you a chance to send your own voice, not going to take out sound bites just for the sake of doing it. If this is the last interview you ever did, what would you like to say to people about the real Tommy Robinson and how you'd like to be remembered?
Not perfect, an average man, just honest in the sense of it. I don't have, and I say, I've never pretended to be anything I'm not. I'm a working class kid from Luton Town. I've seen the problems. Do you know what I'm guilty of? Being a decade ahead. Yeah. That's it. I'm guilty of being a decade ahead. Never believe the media. They have a narrative to push. They have an agenda. The whole reason I was deplatformed and censored is because they don't want you having the other side of the story. They actually don't want you being able to make your own mind up. And this attack on me, and it's not just on me. Like, I think when COVID hit, I think people realised people were happy when it was us getting censored. All of a sudden, they started censoring doctors, nurses, medical professionals. Yeah, the net just went wider and wider. What you may think you're on the right side of free speech today, but so long as you allow globalist agendas to dictate what free speech is, and corporations above governments to decide what you can and can't say, whether it be the European Union or any of these things, with their new hate speech policies or whatever they're bringing in to control the story and the narrative, then you may find yourself, you might think you're on the right side of free speech now, but at some point you can find yourself on the wrong side. And I think free speech, this all comes down to free speech. It all comes down to their attack to censor me is about censoring you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they may want to attack me, but that's so that you don't get the story. And just let the public make their own mind up. Yeah.
Tommy,
No, thanks.
welcome out.
No, thanks.
And we will continue the conversation.
Got a hot chocolate?
That's good.